Hey everybody, so I just wanted to jump on here today and leave my review for Verity. This is a book by Colleen Hoover. If I haven't mentioned already, and if you haven't already noticed, just at your local Target stores, Walmart, anywhere basically where they sell books, Colleen Hoover has kind of taken over every single area, an inch of a bookstore in any capacity that she can. And Verity is one of those books that kind of is part of that showcase. Now, I think this was a couple years ago, like I mentioned in a previous review for a Colleen Hoover book that I had read, that she is just on fire right now. Book Talk, thankfully, kind of blew her up out of nowhere. She was a writer that had been kind of, already publishing books since about 2012. And because of TikTok and just this young adult generation who are reading a lot more and just kind of recommending different kind of books that they suggest or really enjoy, Colleen Hoover became an instant name that just took over everything. It swept up the reading community. And Verity was one of those books. And I had yet to read this one. And this is about, I want to say 4 years old, but I am now just getting to it and I'm going to talk about it now. So this is my third Colleen Hoover book. I've read It Starts With Us and It Ends With Us. And I enjoyed both of those for what they were. This one is her very first thriller, at least that's what I believe. I don't know anything too much about her other books just yet, but after reading this and those two other ones, I am very curious to see what else she has to offer. But let's get into this one first. So in case you're not aware, this is a story about a young, struggling writer. Her name is Lowen Ashley. She is somebody who is in need of a break. She's written a few books, but not exactly paying the bills right now, especially after the fact that she's been caring for her mother, and her mother has recently passed, so she could use a really good writing break at this point. She gets a wonderful opportunity to jump on board as a co-author to finish a really popular book series for an author who is no longer physically able to do so herself due to an accident that she had. And what happens just over the next few weeks as she unravels, learning about this woman, this author by the name of Verity, and just through her husband, through her family, through her past, Lowen actually comes across this entry, which is very much like a autobiography. At least that's what we are come to believe, because it is a manuscript that is unpublished, kind of hidden in Verity's office. And as Lowen is reading this autobiography, while she should be doing her research and work on the completion of a series that she was hired to do, she ends up finding out some very dark truths and some really wild secrets. And it is the first air of mystery, breath of thriller air that Colleen Hoover has given us. And a lot of people are torn between this book. I can understand why. It's not exactly the first thriller to go, oh my God, this is new or different. But I'm going to be honest with you, very much like how I enjoyed the first two, while those are completely separate from this category, I really enjoyed Verity. I had a lot of fun with it. I think the writing style of Colleen Hoover is very, at this point, 3 books in, expected. I know exactly what she's going to give. I know how she's going to present herself, and I'm not mad at it. I actually really find myself entertained. And there are a lot of people who might think it is really silly or just not that, crazy or different or original or of a novel idea, but I happen to think that Colleen Hoover has just her own particular voice. And while I understand and I can see from other people's perspectives that it can be kind of cheesy at times, I really do appreciate what she has to offer. And I enjoyed Verity. It's one of those books that you could read in one sitting if you have the time to separate. But, I don't know. I had a lot of fun with it. There were a lot of twists and turns that I was like, oh, okay. I did start to unravel my own predictions of how this story was going to go early on. And once it got to the conclusion of that twist, some of my, ideas were correct. And then there were a couple that I was like, oh, okay, I didn't see that coming. So it was like a mixture of both. I can kind of predict a little bit, but at the same time, I was pleasantly surprised. So it's one of those books that I think that, is it the best I've ever read in terms of the thriller genre? No, but I do think there's a lot of fun to be found here. I really like the cover of this as well. I won't explain what this means, this graphic. It took me a while just to kind of figure out what it meant until, of course, I finished the book, and then this kind of made more sense to what this was trying to show us. But yeah, if you are somebody who hasn't jumped on the Colleen Hoover train, I definitely recommend that you just give it a try, see what you think of her books, maybe give it 1 or 2 books to see. She's one of those authors that I think I'll be curious to know what else she puts out. It's one of those things that I call really corny excitement. It's really cheesy, yet there's something entertaining about it. A lot of the people that I've come across who've given her books not the best reviews always say that they read it in like a single sitting. So there must be something she's doing right to capture your attention, whether you love it or you don't. And for me, I really enjoy them, and I can't wait to see what else she has to offer. Again, she's got like several books that are just kind of sweeping the nation at the moment, and this is my third one that I've completed so far. So I'm excited to see what else she has to give. And of course, I'll be back with other reviews when I read those. But for now, I'm going to give Verity a passing recommendation. And if you haven't read it yet, give it a try. Let me know what you think. If you have read it, I'd love to know your comments down below. What did you think of this book? Have you read anything else by Colleen Hoover? And if so, drop those titles down below if you recommend. And yeah, let's talk about this because I'm very curious to know other people's thoughts on Verity.